Good morning, good Sunday morning, and happy Memorial Day weekend. We thank all of those who have served, and it is our joy to be with you this morning. It is the Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley, and I am Reverend Pam Geagan. No, just before we speak.
Good Sunday, everybody. We are at the Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley in Camarillo, California. I'm Reverend Lynn Chaplin-Noe, and let's get this party started, shall we? There's a lot going on today. We have Pamela Bailey and our spiritual leader, Reverend Pamela Geagan, with a wonderful discussion today. Our musical inspiration is Bill Rotella on YouTube. Buzz Noe has the buzz to tell us what's happening, and he's also our practitioner of the day. And let's just get going, shall we? Our vision is awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence. And how we do that is teaching and demonstrating spiritual principles for living an abundant and fulfilling life in a welcoming and compassionate community. We believe, and of course, these are our flames of faith. We believe that there is one power, one source, and that there are many paths to that source. By lighting our candles of faith, we honor all religions, Buddhism, Sufism, Christianity, Hinduism, and all others that step forward in love. There is that fine thread that connects all religions, and that fine thread is love. We are love, we come from love, and we honor our oneness within us all. And now here is Reverend Pamela Geagan with Betty Ann Brennan's quote for the day.
Thank you, Rev Lynn. And it is my honor to continue the tradition of having Reverend Betty Ann's famous quotes with us. And so today, on this Memorial Day, Memorial Day weekend, I am God's beloved light in the world. I illuminate every path wherever I go, bringing my good into every circumstance. I say yes to life. Reverend Betty Ann Brennan. And now it is my honor to introduce our wonderful, and I know they're wonderful, our Rev Lynn back for our wonderful opening affirmative prayer. Thanks, Lynn.
Okay, I'll be wonderful for you. Let's have an opening treatment to open up our awareness and our receptivity to all the wonderful ideas and truths that are being revealed to us today. So let's close our eyes, please. And in this space now, this presence, I acknowledge that there is one power, one presence, one way of life. This is divine intelligence, infinite intelligence, love, life, God, all there is. And I'm one with this. I am the divine, individualized expression of all that God is. And therefore, on this morning, in this moment, I open my awareness. I open up my brain, my wholeness, my beingness to accepting and understanding and dwelling within and appreciating and loving and cherishing all of the truths and ideas that will be revealed today in this service. I'm so excited to be here present with this wonderful spiritual family. I'm open, I'm receptive, I'm grateful. And so I allow Divine Mind to take care of the details, to take care of everything within and without me, so that I can enjoy and absorb and appreciate this wonderful, glorious service. And together we say, and so it is. And so it is. I bet I'm turning this right back to Rev Pam.
You're correct. Thank you, Rev Lynn. Thank you for that wonderful opening treatment. And it's now my honor to introduce a wonderful song from the 17th or 16th century from Thomas Moore. And it's the Minstrel Boy to the War Has Gone. And it's, I am proud to say that one of my favorite renditions, which we can't play today, was Paul Robeson, who was my half-brother's godfather. But also the way that this is done today is it is royalty free. And I just also want to say it was the music under Black Hawk Down. Please enjoy. And again, thank you for your service on this Memorial Day. And now I'm about to introduce one of our veterans, and that's Buzz Noe with What's the Buzz, our poet laureate.
Thank you, Reverend Pam, and welcome all to the final Sunday of the merry month of May. Tomorrow we pay tribute to our veterans as we celebrate Memorial Day. All the men and women who have given their lives to keep the rest of us okay. I'm grateful to have survived 10 years as a naval aviator, and here are the announcements for today. At 9 a.m. weekdays on Facebook Live, Reverend Pam's morning meditations will allow you to thrive. This week is deep relaxation with the sound of the ocean waves. These guided meditations will give you the blessings that you crave. At 7 p.m. Thursdays on Facebook Live, our midweek spiritual uplift will boost your divine drive. Lead practitioner Pamela Bailey will host this week's lesson. The Power of What's So is the title for her uplifting lesson. Starting on June 14th will be an 8-week Science of Mind accredited class entitled Self-Mastery, Emergence of the Soul. It is facilitated by our beloved Reverend Pamela Geagan and our lead practitioner, Pamela Bailey. The class is going to be free to Science of Mind ministers and practitioners, though there will be a nominal fee for beginners. You can sign up now on our center website, and if you have any questions, please do contact Reverend Pam at 805-987-5379. This Science of Mind accredited course will better connect you with the one divine source. You can then create what you desire in your life and realize your full potential with much less strife. And moving on, please keep in mind our center is always here for you. So please let us know what we can do. The spiritual treatment that we provide will lessen your stress and allow you to thrive. You can call and leave a request by phone or send us an email from wherever you roam. And starting on July 4th, we will meet again live. Until then, our center still helps us all thrive. So please do donate to keep our center going so we can be here to keep your wellness flowing. 2 other places where you can lend a hand. Please do give them whatever you can. Ventura County Rescue Mission provides the homeless with much good, and Ventura County Food Share feeds the needy in our hood. A reminder that our center is part of Ralph's Community Contribution Program. A portion of whatever you spend at the store gives our center a small donation or more. So please do sign up or simply renew, and Ralph's will contribute at no cost to you. Our center's code number is JE859. You can sign up at the store or do it online. Another way to help our center for a while is to shop online using Amazon Smile. When you complete your purchase for the items you got, it will donate to our center right on the spot. And finally, Memorial Day comes tomorrow as we pay tribute to our vets. So let's be grateful for their service as we take comfort with our pets. And that ends the announcements and what I have to say. I'm going to now turn it over to our practitioner of the day. What he has to say, we will all soon see, and I'll be here as well because the prac of the day is me. And moving on into that, we will soon be hearing from our 2 Pamelas as they discuss today's theme, which is also the theme from Science of Mind, called Boldly Living a New Story. They will be discussing this concept that I've referred to over the past several years as what I call the human dichotomy. And the way it works is this, I talked to God about it. A memory comes up from your past, from a picture that you see, a note that you read, a song that you might hear. And of course, the first reaction upon hearing that is something great was recalling the joy of the moment. Hey, that was wonderful. But then right away in my mind, and I think I call it the human condition, I start to wonder, hey, will I ever see that again? Will I ever be there again? Will I ever have that same joy, do that and relieve the joy? And then all of a sudden with that pops up that disappointment, sadness, regret. And I might not ever see that again. I may not ever be there. I may not ever have that same experience. I'll miss it forever. And when that occurs, right away, I go back to gratitude in thanking God for giving me that moment that circumstance, that situation that brought me the joy, giving me the moment of joy. And that brings up the confidence in my mind that I will soon find other ways to have that same joyful experience, even though that one might be past. It gives me a more positive mindset. It gives me confidence that good things will reveal themselves in my life. And the foundation of all of that is my awareness, because as you know, I always make assessments of things in an analytical basis. The foundation here is that we have to keep in mind that everything had to happen exactly the way it happened in every aspect of the entire universe in order to be here now and have the now moment that we're going on. The alternative to what is happening right now in the universe is infinite. It could be anything, anywhere, anytime. So we, in our minds, our human minds, we can imagine that had we done this instead of that, we'd be there instead of here. But you have to keep in mind that this is purely imagination. The options to the current reality are infinite. There is absolutely no absolute as to how things would be other than the way they are. So rather than focus on how things would be different, or if something different had occurred in the past, we should put our focus on what we are doing now. What's going on now? What can we do now to make things be different in our future? Reverend Pam and Pamela Bailey will soon be discussing the same idea. Science of Mind has the same point of view, that we all have a past, and it can be tricky as your mind comes up with the stories about what happened and how it may have affected you. Were you the hero, the victim, the observer? Now, Science of Mind recommends that moving beyond those stories of the past and being here now to seek better ways of moving forward is the way we should go. So yes, we're all here now, and that means we all have a past. It's tough not to look back at aspects of the past, not wonder where they'd be if this had happened or that had happened, or you did this or didn't do that. But the important thing to always remember, this we're going to hear later about, is that even though our assessment of the now reality is our individual choice, what is happening now in the universe is an absolute. The important thing to keep in mind is the alternatives to where the universe is now is absolutely infinite. So since the infinite universe had to evolve exactly as it did for me to be here now where I am, I should certainly look at this as a blessing in my life and not a curse, because it's the entire universe that brought me here to this moment. So two things result. One, you're putting forth a more positive consciousness, mentally, emotionally, physically, and that gives you more clarity as to what you can do to have things happen coming into the future. And there's a few quotes that I found with a similar idea, and one is a wonderful song that I heard from back in 1969. It's called "Take a Look Around" by the James Gang, and it has resonated with me for many years because it has this lyric which fits into what we're talking about today. They sing, "If you see hard times, stop. Better take a look around. Good things must end. They never last. Look to tomorrow. Forget the past." And that just sounds so valid. And here's a quote from Jack Welch, who says it this way: "Face reality as it is, not as it was or as you wish it to be, but reality as it is." And finally, this is from our founder, Ernest Holmes, which is also in the Science of Mind theme. "Today, you are going to take your life in your own hands, realizing God is ever with you." And that will move you forward in a more positive way. And I'm going to close with a treatment. So as I say these words in the first person, please do make them your own. "For I know that right here and right now, in this singular absolute moment of reality in the universe, there is one source to everything that is, one infinite power, one infinite love, one infinite creativity. We call that infinite power God. There is one God, one source with all that is. I am here. And from that same source, connected to everything that comes from that same source, which is God, I am connected with life and with all aspects of life on this planet and in this universe. And I know that through that connection and that oneness with God, What I think in my mind, what I put forth in my consciousness, what I express is what's going to create the future that I'm coming into. And I can see the past that brought me here as a blessing. And I know that as I continue to move forward in creating the future that I would choose to have for myself and everyone else, if my singular main motivation is love, kindness, compassion, giving, sharing, and caring, these same attributes of life will come back to me and be sent out by me for everyone else to participate in and enjoy. And I know that as I continue to move forward in this path on my life will continue to unfold perfectly. And I do say thank you to God for the awareness of my ability to create life for me, for my awareness of the blessing that life has been to bring me here, and for the knowledge that God's infinite power can take care of all the details while I continue to move forward in my life, knowing that it is there for me at all times and for everyone else with whom I share. I release these words of oneness and connection and divinity to the oneness that is God, to the infinite power that God represents, that can easily take care of all the details that I would choose to see happen in my life, while I continue to move forward in my life, motivated by love and acceptance of the reality of the now. And so I release these words with a thank you, and we can say together in closing, and so it is. And so it is. That ends for the practitioner of the day. I hand things back to Reverend Pam.
Thank you so much. And speaking of being in the now and also looking forward to the transformation that we've all honoring the transformation we've all been through as we go into our next great step here. Here is Bill Rotella with Dragonfly.
It's called Dragonfly. It's time. I'm searching the sky. The dragonfly. Sometimes I feel miles from home, watching my world spinning below. Casted my doubts too close to shore. Now I'm ready to fly into the eye of the storm. I'm trying. Sometimes I cry. I'm searching the sky. Dragonfly. Sometimes I feel miles from home, watching my world spinning below. We are tied together, we've been torn in two, all forevers. And too soon. Sometimes I feel miles from home, watching my world spinning out of control. We're miles from home. We're miles from home. We're miles from home. Dragonfly.
Hi, thank you so much, Bill Rotella. He wrote that song. Bill wrote that song right after his father made his transition. And he saw dragonflies. Not only did he see dragonflies, they were landing on him. And he knew it was his dad letting him know he was well in the heaven world. Anyway, speaking of the heaven world, and speaking before Pamela, I bring Pamela Bailey on. And our title is Boldly Living a New Story. We want to honor another angel who is in the heaven world watching out after us, and that is Kathy Lane. She was one of the heads of the original Science of Mind worldwide practitioner prayer line. And she was with Reverend Betty Ann for years, she and her mom, and then we had the honor of having her with us. She, ever since she was a child, suffered from childhood diabetes, and nothing ever changed her spirit. And like most saints, she just went to sleep the other night in a care facility and just didn't come back. So we love her, we miss her, and yet we know that she's guiding and providing us on the other side. And she's right with us right here and right now. Loving that we're honoring her. So now it is my honor to bring the living, someone who boldly lives a new story, and that's our Pamela Bailey. Welcome, Pamela, to living a bold new story. So I'll just start here, and I'm going to start with all of us love to see miraculous transformations, and I believe that we have all witnessed this firsthand this last 15 months. And whether it's a COVID crisis or the loss of a loved one or the loss of a job, the way of life in each situation changes, and there's an opportunity to change. As I say, I just came and coined this phrase, kind of. Well, no, I did. We all are a choice to change a heartbreak into a heavenquake. And our Reverend Betty Ann always made us aware that no matter what, our lives were unfolding perfectly. And I loved what Buzz said. Bud, yeah, that's a good old Bud. Buzz said is how the universe is always working on our behalf, and it's always, everything is in divine right timing. And I'll let you continue on from there.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And one of the things is we as humans, all of us love stories, and that's how we pass on ideas and how we celebrate together. And the thing about that is when we hold on to our old stories, when we keep holding on, especially our pity party stories, but any old story, we don't have room for a new one. We absolutely don't. We need to let the old one go to make space for the new. If you want a new wardrobe, you have to clean out your closet so there's room to put it in. If you want a new life, you have to let go of your old stories. So once again, there's room for that creation.
You know, speaking of stories, and I'm not sure there's an echo there, but that's okay. The story of, there's a story I want to share, and it's about a boy named Colin Wanch. And Colin Wanch went to school with my daughter, Kate, and we all said he was going to be he was going to be a president of the United States one day. And his family was Katie and Don Wanch, and Don was actually on the Camarillo, he was vice mayor of Camarillo for a long time on the Camarillo board, city board. And Colin went with his mother, she was from back east, and he was 10 years old or 11. And he went with his mother to visit all of her family. And they were in a minivan, and her mother, her brother, her son, her nieces, her nephews, a truck a truck literally rear-ended them and killed them, everyone except Katie. And so Katie came home, and the only person she really had that she could even talk to was her husband, Don. Don was not back east at the meeting. And so when we come to losses like that, we think, well, all of this is great. We don't have to think about the past, and let's just move on. And we know that love is deeper than that, and spiritual awakening is always there. But like so many, she and Dawn created a campaign that changed how drivers, truck drivers nationwide, make sure they get enough sleep. And also there were new safety things put in and for truck brakes and truck laws changed because Katie and Don launched that. So loss and love and a deeper spiritual awakening always happen when we have that heartbreak. It seems like to me, those who turn it in to a heaven quake, we change from going to the worst situation into the deepening of our own spiritual self-realization, love, compassion, and we end up developing a larger vision than we were already living. We're almost like pushed into having to live more boldly.
Yes, I guess that means it's back to you.
PB, peanut butter and jelly there.
Yeah, and so, yes, that forces us to live a bold new story when we have, I'm certain for that poor family, that poor woman, gosh, it felt like life had been ripped away from her for at least some time. And the life she knew had been, and yet she and her husband did something that made a bold and wonderful difference in the world of driving and transportation. And that was a huge opportunity because they saw it, because they stepped up. You know, there's also the woman who started Mothers Against Drunk Driving, the same sort of thing where she had a personal tragic loss, and yet out of that came something that has made a difference in a positive way in the world. And yes, we have that choice. We have that choice in the moment of a massive shift in our story to make it a heartbreak story and to have it be a pity party ongoingly, or we have the choice to say, okay, my life is unfolding perfectly, this happened, what am I going to do about it now? What choice do I have? And so the woman who founded Mothers Against Drunk Driving, she chose to have a campaign to limit driving when under the influence. And of course that lingers on, and it has good that it has come about. And there are small things too, where something happens. And for instance, I read this story recently of someone whose dog died, and this dog they had walked all over the neighborhood, and he always stopped and visited his favorite people, and they gave him his favorite treats and all of that. So when that happened, she sent a letter to each of the people who had been her dog's friends, and they came together and just had this beautiful, beautiful ceremony celebrating that wonderful, friendly, goofy dog. And so you never know what life is going to do and how you get to respond.
You know, this is so interesting because the dog that before we had Smokey, when we brought out Laps of Love to help him make his transition, I live, as you know, on a very small block, but Pluto was his name, and he would go every morning and hang out with everybody on the block and say hi to everybody. And when Laps of Love came, they all came as he made his transition to wish him well. I know. So in this challenging time, whether you hopefully you still have a job, and the way you're living is at least safe for you, and your relationships that you haven't seen people for this last 15 months, that you're able to start hugging them again. But when we have those changes in those challenging times, you're always at a choice of a heartbreak, going into the heartbreak, or changing it into a heaven quake. And Rumi famously said, and most of us know this by now, the wound is the place where the light enters. So the very awareness of your pain, we don't say walk away from the pain. We say embrace the pain, allow the light in to reflect what is the next great bold move you're going to make in this. And the very awareness of the pain is your opportunity to let that light in. Jane Austen said, we do not suffer by accident. And again, like Buzz said, the universe is conspiring in our behalf. And I can tell you, not that I'm old, but I'm old enough, old enough to know by my age, we've all experienced loss. We've all experienced pain. And in the first time it happens, it's so dramatic. And yet you look back and think, my life was absolutely designed for me to deepen, for me to feel more at one moment, in each sacred moment, and to recognize it and be grateful for it. And that my foundation is not just shaken or destroyed, but that a part of this, and there are times, and I know you too have been through this, and you can share what you want, but that when your foundation is shaken up by that heaven quake, you have a choice, and you never gave up. Just never give up, no matter what heartbreaking thing it is, to remember that the divine power of the one is open and available for you to become and live boldly and go where no man has ever gone before.
And perhaps no woman either.
Oh, yes, yes. I don't even remember what series that was from, but it sounds like the Twilight Zone or something anyway.
Something like that. And yes, on this whole thing of, again, we have each day as this unique moment to live, and we forget that this moment, like Buzz was saying, is it ever going to be exactly that again? No, it can't be, because as we move through life, we change, we grow, we become wiser, we become deeper. At least that's what we hope to do, is become wiser and deeper and kinder and more loving, as opposed to other options. And as we do that, the other thing that I see is a couple of things. One is, about healing. So when you break a bone and it mends, the part where the break was is even stronger afterward. And that actually is the opportunity that we have in these times of brokenness, to allow others to come forward to help us in our healing, to be open to that healing energy and to the wisdom and the love and the opportunities that are presented. We don't know when we come into life. And I think that's intentional by design, that we don't know how our lives are going to unfold. And so it's our opportunity to do the best we can, be the best we can, moment to moment. And as things unfold, to look at them and look through the eyes of love, and to look through the eyes of acceptance, and to be willing to forgive if that's necessary, but also just for not just our individual selves, but for our communities and for our state and our country and our world, to be the best that we can. And that doesn't matter whether it has to do with recycling plastic, or whether it has to do with speaking out against alcohol and driving, or whether it is like, wow, who could we be where it's bold, it's new, it's unique, and that it is fully satisfying, and it is living to the greatest extent in our capabilities. And a lot of times we don't even know. Look at Grandma Moses. She started painting at 80 years old.
There's hope. There's hope for us.
I mean, I think about it, and gosh,
Never give up.
I could paint like that when I was 5. Maybe I'll be able to do it again when I'm 80.
Oh, I look to my parents who were interesting characters, to say the least, but they had very difficult lives growing up. And they use that, but when you're with parents, you don't understand it. And the more, now, as time goes on, they're saints. but in many ways they were. They had, we all have our own unique stories, but my parents, when they came together, they were older. They had a past, which I won't go into, but they adopted my sister and myself. I did not know until, way after my mom died, that she was actually 50. She always lied about her age. I'd say, Mommy, Mama, how old were you when you had that job? And she said, the age they wanted me to be. And so anyway, wise woman. But my mother not only, and my father adopted us, my dad made sure, he worked in Hollywood, that every kid who didn't have food had money for lunches at school. He made sure they had all their books and clothes. And that was along with us too. And there was actually, there were stories about him, and one was, they called him, I think it gets very complicated, but a girl who honored him for making sure that her father, when they were really, really poor, and he was an addict alcoholic, her father, and this was in the 50s, and sometimes all they had was toothpaste to eat for dinner. And my dad made sure that she wrote a book, and that my dad made sure that she had food and clothing and books and transportation and everything else. And so what that did is they also, in older years, watched babies from the Bureau of Adoptions. My mom did. And one of those babies is my niece, Winnie. And the seeds they planted, not only in us, from their greatness, continues to go on. And so Winnie, who has always been like my niece, my daughter, all of those things, my friend, everything, she is that spirit of givingness that my parents were too. So the seeds they planted and the seeds we plant in our ability to transform during changes and go to that higher place, the outcome is amazing. And I just feel everybody has amazing families, but I have very generous, wonderful children and relatives that support me in so many ways. And that all started with those seeds that my parents began in and through and as us. I didn't realize it at the time, but I am so much like my dad too. The hard part. So no matter how cold and harsh, we look at the seasons, no matter how cold and harsh the winter is, what comes next is the spring with the new seeds that are planted, and they come to renew that divine spirit in us. And so as we come out of this very challenging last 15 months, what we come out of, we are a choice again to come out of the heartbreak. Some of us lost people during COVID. Some of us are still recovering from the effects of COVID, and not only the physical effects of them, but their jobs, their businesses, everything else. But what you can really do is to continue to renew your faith and to continue to stand on that rock that is unshakable. And that is the divine power of the God and the love within each and every one of us that just says yes. And it continues to offer that openness to make all things new.
And I just want to say one more thing here, and that is that it seems that we're all looking forward to normal again. And that's wonderful. And the idea of being able to go and eat in a restaurant or shop or do these things that we haven't been able to do is delightful. And yet this has been such a massive shift in many, many, many ways. And I think what we want to do is also to remember to be grateful for all of the freedoms and all of the gifts and the blessings that we have. And I know for myself, it's like there are so many things that I just took for granted. Well, yeah, of course I'll be able to see my friends and hug them. Of course I'll be able to drive wherever I want to and go in, and small things like that. And of course our society is going to continue operating the way it always has. Well, no, it isn't operating the way that it always has. And it seems to me that the best thing that we can do is we can take the learning from this and just be grateful for all that we do have, and to see opportunities for creating a new adventure in life. We talk about boldly this new adventure, and yes, we have a number of more days. We don't know how many that will be, but we have those, and we have the opportunity each one of those days to make it the greatest gift that God gave us. And so let's do that. Let's remember that each day.
You know, I want to tell one more. This is me that has this echo. I want to tell one more story, and it's about, again, a family friend that we met through Katie and Spencer School, and it's Dr. Christopher Smith. And he was head of the, I want to say head, he was at the emergency hospital here, a physician here, 4 years. He'd had his practice, but he wanted more freedom. And so he was a world traveler, but in 10 years before he made his transition, he not only lost an eye from a surgery, from laser surgery, but to correct his vision, but also the last night he was retiring, and on the last night he was at the hospital, his aorta burst. And it took him it took all of the people from Santa Barbara County, from Ventura County, all the doctors, they worked on him forever, repairing his aorta. And yes, he did live, and yes, he had to watch his life force from then on, but he joined Doctors Without Borders, traveled to places that were on the edge of war zones to take care of children in Africa and Asia and other places, and not even thinking, well, this, if I'm threatening myself here. No, he had more to give, more to do, and he did that until the day he made his transition. He was continually helping others. I used to have a very big phobia about doctors, and during that time I was just petrified had white coat syndrome, and so he was my doctor too, which was great, and he never charged me a penny. It was fabulous. And my daughter's doctor, and I won't go into any details, but again, it's a story of a man who was in his mid 60s when all this happened, if not later 60s. And he went on and said, I'm just going to let this go, and I'm going to still give. I'm still going to give because that's what I want to do. And he would fall in love with some of the kids, especially, and the mothers who were trying to take care of their kids from not only autocratic, but masculine run societies where they would just kill the babies that had Downs and stuff. And he would, it was just the stories. I still saved them. So in my closing, you can choose like to be like a Katie Wanch and the Wanches, a Dr. Smith, and take what life lessons are given and make them into a legacy that supports humanity. But ultimately, it's up to you and your choice. And so my desire and for you, and my fondest energetic hope, that I don't want to say hope, energetic presence. I want people to continue to never give up. Always keep going. Embrace the spiritual lessons learned in this heartbreaks and turn them into heaven quakes, believing that your life is unfolding perfectly, as our wonderful Betty Ann says, no matter what. And rich rewards are in the divine pipeline, waiting to pour in and through and as you in divine right perfect timing. We are always in this moment, in the now, in divine right perfect timing, and able to make choices. And so I have nothing else to say. Do you want to say anything, Pamela?
This whole thing about having choices, it's a lot of times we are on autopilot, and certainly the COVID pandemic has shifted that, where we now are somewhat more aware, although of course we've gotten into new habit patterns. But this whole idea of heaven quake as opposed to heartache, yes, those things happen, and we have the choice, and we also have that divine power within us and through us and as us. And so as we go through each day, we get to say, we get to choose, we get to show up in love and in forgiveness and acceptance and understanding, and also in possibility. Like, yes, what great new story could we create today? How can we take how can we, in the presence of what, in the absence of what is no longer with us, how can we create something new from where we are right now? And that's the blessing that we get to be. And I'm just going to say, and so it is. And if you have anything else, go for it.
And so it is. Mwah! Thank you so much, Pamela. Good talk, I thought. So good conversation. And now it's my honor to introduce Daniel Namod with Love is My Decision. Enjoy.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. My decision, right here and now.
And now it's my honor to first of all thank Daniel Namod in Love Is My Decision. What a great musician and writer. And also to introduce our Buzz Noe, who had an aha during the service. Buzz, take it.
Thank you, Reverend Bam. I did have an aha because my mind always goes into rhyming schemes. And while you guys were talking, this came to mind, so I thought I would share it. We dream about the future and we reminisce about the past, but the only time we're really here is now, which goes by fast. The more you focus on life right now, the longer it will last, because everything in the universe now is part of an infinite cast. So do what you can to be here now and take time to enjoy this moment. No need to ever question it or allow stress or anger to foment. This lets you relax and get past the strife, so you can simply focus on enjoying your life, finding new ways to make life fun, no matter where or how. This will readily reveal the blessing to you that your life is providing right now. And that's my thoughts for the day, but now here's the slides I'd like to share with you. The offertory slide, which again is asking you to please donate to the center whenever you can, whenever you can, because it helps us to stay here for you. And we like to always recite together this quote about giving, the offertory quote. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is, and that's the way it is. As far as actually donating to the center, there are several ways. So we want to thank you for watching the Sunday service. If you do receive that you feel receive value from what we did, then we could ask again to please support our ministry with a tax-deductible donation. You can visit our website, the www.cslpleasantvalley.org, and just know that we do accept PayPal, we accept Zelle, so you can do these things online. And of course, if you would rather use traditional mail, you can always send a check to our address, which I think is coming up next. Yes, the mailing address, CSL Pleasant Valley, 221 East Daly Drive, Suite number 1, Camarillo, California, 93010. And again, our website, the www.cslpleasantvalley.org, and the email, cslpleasantvalley@gmail.com. All these ways you can communicate with us and send a donation, and we appreciate anything that you give. And that's it for what I have to say. And now for our closing affirmation for the rest of your day to begin, I give this session over to my wonderful wife, Reverend Lynn.
As you can see, I live a very poetic life and full of love. Thank you so much, Buzz. And now it's time for a closing treatment. So let's take everything that we've learned today. This has been a rich conversation, and we've been open and receptive to it. And now let's put it to work in our lives. So let's close our eyes, please. And as I close my eyes and breathe deeply into the presence of love and generosity and creativity and intelligence and wisdom, I know that I'm one with a great, loving, creative power, God. And I know that today, through and by means of everyone present on this service, wonderful, wonderful truths and realities and ideas have been revealed. Ideas of oneness with Source and the truth of God as me, and the truth that I make choices every moment of my life, choices that lead me to a life of productivity and a life of creativity and life of love and acceptance and good. That's my choice. I'm so grateful for these loving truths that this service has provided me with infinite ideas to bring into my life. I release them now into the law of mind. I allow law of mind to take care of the details and to guide me and lead me through how I put these principles to action in my life this week and forever. While I release these truths right now into the very activity of them in my life right now. And together we say, and so it is. And have a wonderful week.
Oh, thank you all so much. And happy Memorial Day for all those who serve selflessly now and have served selflessly in the past. And goodbye, Rev Lynn. Thank you, Buzz. And wonderful
Bye.
Spencer behind, and Pamela Bailey. And yes, Spencer behind us, Marcia, who organizes everything. And our wonderful Ivan Kurolinsky, who's on his way to Berkeley this year. Yay. Okay, Ivan, you better shape up and stay with us. Okay. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Love you. Bye.